Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Today we are going to discuss about a question that has been mentioned in the comments. The question is how to remain peaceful and calm under stressful situations. Coming right up. Stressful and difficult situations are the situations that we all have faced in all of our lives. But many of us face these situations in an unsuccessful way. Under difficult circumstances, under stressful situations, we become depressed, sad, and anxious. So, how to remain calm and how to maintain your inner peace under these circumstances? So, first of all, we have to know and we have to learn and we have to observe what is the situation. Remember, there is a common nature in all the experiences and situations that we face in our life. What is this? What is that common nature? That is called the impermanence. Whatever we encounter and whatever we experience in our life, soon after that has been experienced, it becomes impermanent. Isn't that right? Yes, it is. Now imagine someone is complaining to you about a mistake that you have done or maybe you haven't done, right? So he's yelling at you, right? So in that moment, when the people complain and blame at us, we become depressed, we become sad. But what is the nature of that situation? What is the nature of those words, those rude words? Now soon after we hear them, they become impermanent, right? Soon after you hear them, they will no longer prevail in our life. They are gone. That means everything that we encounter in our life, experience in our life, they become impermanent. That is the nature. But the real problem is that our mind clings to those experiences and there's a nature in our mind that it creates again and again those experiences inside. Now, for an example, as I mentioned before, when someone blames us, right? Now we know that soon after that we got the blame, the words are gone, they have become impermanent. But what our mind does, it creates those words again and again. We think those rude words again and again and we become sad and depressed. But the real nature is, those words are gone, they have become impermanent, right? So that is the nature. Understanding about the impermanence, understanding that these experiences and all the things that we face in our life are impermanent is very important to face or to be calm in a difficult situation. Because you know the nature. That is the first step. We need to understand that each and everything that we face in our life is impermanent. Right? Whether you face a terrible time, it will become impermanent. It will be changed. There will be a good day. Whether you face a good time, a happy time, a wonderful time, that will also become impermanent. That is the nature. So first of all, you need to understand about this. The world is impermanent. Our life is impermanent. Nothing is permanent in this world, not even your problems. First step. And the second step, whenever you are in a difficult situation, whenever you are in a terrible moment, you need to practice some practices or to do something to remain peaceful and maintain your peacefulness and think of a solution to solve this problem. So how to do that? Now, many of us, during the difficult situations, we become panicked. We freak out. So, it is the best thing to do during a difficult situation is to do some practices to calm our mind. So what we can do to make our minds calm? The best thing that you can do to make your mind calm and peaceful is do some meditation. Right? Do a little bit of a meditation during that stressful situation. So how to do that? The easiest meditation that you can practice within a stressful situation is to contemplate on your breath. Now, breath is an amazing thing. It changes according to the situation. Isn't that right? So when we are in a terrible moment, right? When we are in a dangerous moment, what is the nature of our breathing pattern? It becomes fast and it becomes shorter. We take short and fast breathing patterns, right? So what is the nature of our breathing pattern? That when we go to sleep, what do we do normally? I think most of you have experienced this. When you go to bed and when you lie down, you take a deep breath in and let it go. That is a sign that your body shows that you are going to rest. So if you need to become peaceful and serene and tranquilized, you need to restructure your breath. So in a difficult and terrible and stressful situation, just take deep breaths in. You can do it. Breathe in deeply and let it go. And contemplate on the pattern of your breathing. Now you can do this, but this needs a little bit of a practice. Right? You cannot do it without a practice. First of all, you need to practice this. Now some people may question, now I cannot do this in a difficult situation. Yes, you cannot do it because you don't have that practice. First of all, you need to practice this contemplation and this practice where there is no stressful situations. Right? That is the thing. The nature of these practices is that if you do it whenever there is no problem, then it will help you to practice that way or the situation or that remedy during a stressful situation. There's a great saying that it says, if you sweat during the times of peace, you will bleed less during the times of war. That means if you practice during the times of peaceful situations and where there is no stressful situations, it will help, that practice will help you to face the difficult situations. So, practice at least 5 minutes a day to contemplate on your breath. Right? You can feel the way that you are breathing. Right? It will help you to tranquilize your mind. Supreme Buddha said, Vitakku paccedaya anapana sati bhavetappa. If you need to stop the chattering mind, if you need to stop the thoughts that are popping up all the time that inside your mind, just practice the anapanasati, or which we call the breathing meditation. Just contemplate on the breathing meditation. When you contemplate your mind on this breathing pattern, right, you're focusing your mind to inhale and to the exhale. That means your mind jumps from one thought to another, but there is only two thoughts. Inhale and exhale. You're not thinking about anything else. Right? That means you reduced thousands and millions of thoughts to 2 thoughts. So that is a big thing. So if you do it as a practice, you will feel that your mind will become more and more peaceful and tranquilized. So whenever you face a difficult and stressful situation, try to take deep breaths, few deep breaths in and let them go. And it will make you feel better. Right? So if you need to face a difficult situation, if you need to face a stressful situation successfully, you have to be ready for that situation where there is no stress. So that is how you face the difficult situations without being distracted. And also, as an extra thing, you have to practice the love and kindness. And also you have to practice the forgiveness. If you can practice these great qualities like compassion, love and kindness, especially forgiveness, you can maintain your peacefulness. Because when you forgive people, as an example, when you forgive people, that means you are letting go of them, right? The more you forgive, the more you will feel the peacefulness within. But forgiveness does not mean that you are going to fall into the same trap again and again for them. You forgive for yourself and you know that person and you can stay away from them in a positive way and you can still be kind to them. Because kindness and forgiveness starts within your heart and it will help you always. So practice these practices in the times where there are no stress and disturbing situations. And one day, when you master them, one day you can maintain your peacefulness within yourself without being distracted. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to today's video. Today, this special video is entirely dedicated to those who are studying. Now, one of the most frequent questions that I get asked in the comment section is, Bhante, I'm studying and my mind is distracting all the time, and how to focus on studying? Well, today, let's discuss about this distracting mind, okay? And also, I'm going to share with you a few tips where you can practice while you're studying to help to focus your mind on studying. So, without any further ado, let's get into these tips. Now, while you're studying, have you ever found yourself daydreaming? Right? Sometimes we sit down to study and we just turn our book on and we start to study, and after a few minutes, what happens to us? We just get distracted, right? We just start daydreaming. Trust me, when I was studying, when I was at home, before I became a monk, when I was studying, I used to daydream a lot, okay? I used to get distracted a lot. So, it is very difficult. I know it is very difficult and it's very hard to focus our mind to studies because we live in a world where there are many distractions. So what we can do about this distracting mind and how can we focus on our mind on our studies? Well, there are certain things that you can do. And one of them is, the first thing that I want to share with you today is that I would like you to write down what you become distracted. Okay? This is something that you get heard rarely. Okay? So let's say like this. You're studying. Okay? And you turn over the book and you started studying. And sometimes the same thing happened. What is that? Daydreaming. Okay? It's okay. Let it happen. Okay? Once you know and once you identify that you are daydreaming and once you found yourself that you are daydreaming, what do you have to do? I want you to take a pen or a pencil and take a blank paper and write down that thought that you became distracted. For an example, while you're studying, sometimes we used to think about foods a lot, okay? So what do you have to do? Write it down. I got distracted about thinking about biryani, okay? Something like that. Or sometimes we become distracted thinking about the past experiences, the things that happened in the past, okay? So what do you have to do? Write it down, jot it down on a paper. Now, why should we do this? Because most of the time, we are not aware of what we are thinking. When we become distracted and when we daydream, we don't know what is going in our mind. We don't know what we are thinking. We just jump into that stream of thoughts and we just flow down. So what do you have to do? When you write that thought in a piece of paper, right? It's like you're identifying that thought, right? You code that thought and you identified, okay, this is what makes me distracted. This is what makes me unfocused on studies. Okay, then there's a physical thing that you can see, and you can see that it is physically that you are distracting. Okay, so what do you have to do? Write down your distracting thoughts. Okay, then you have a good understanding. When you do this for a little while, what can you do is, and what can you find is, there's a pattern of distractions. That means we become distracted for few thoughts, and they are the thoughts that come again and again to our mind. So what do you have to do? Write it down. That is the first tip. Second tip, identify what makes you distracted and then be brave enough to remove all those distractions. There are triggers that makes us distracted. Let's say, for an example, our mobile phone. Okay, let's say you're studying and there's the mobile phone on the desk. Each and every time it rings a notification, what do? We take our mobile phone and we check what it is. Okay, so a mobile phone is not distracting you. It is a trigger for your distraction. Trigger is just a trigger until you give the power to that to make you distracted. So what do you have to do? Physically, by force, sometimes it's very difficult, okay? You have to be brave enough to do that. Remove that distraction. If your mobile phone is distracting you, be brave enough to remove it, okay? If your laptop or your any technical device that is distracting you, be brave enough to remove it. And sometimes, right, sometimes we have to use this technology. Okay, sometimes you have to use your laptop to study. So what do you have to do? While you're doing it, be much more disciplined and much more aware of what you're thinking and what you're doing inside it. Okay, use it only for what you want. Okay, while studying. I'm not saying that other times you can use it in whatever way you want, but use it only for what you want while studying. So the second tip is to be brave enough to remove the distractions. Okay, if something is distracting you, you have to remove it. Tip number 3, do not study for long hours continuously. I can still remember when I was studying and when I was at home, I can still remember I used to make these schedules and timetables to study for 2 or 3 hours continuously. You know, it is not productive. So what you can do? You can study for short time intervals. Maybe like, let's say 25 minutes. Okay, you can use 25 minutes to study, okay, and then take a little bit of a break and then again study. And while you're studying, what you have to do, you have to jot down and you have to write down all those distracting thoughts. Okay, keep that in your mind. So do not study for long hours. Just take a break and refresh yourself and then come back again to studies. That is another thing that you can do. And here comes the final tip, the tip number 4. It is the most important thing and the most awesome thing is to practice a little bit of meditation before every study session. Okay, before every study session, let's say you studied for 25 minutes and you took an interval, then you came back to study. Now while you are taking that break, sometimes you do certain things to make your mind busy even more. So what we have to do? We have to just settle down and make our mind to focus. To do that, you can use a little bit of meditation before every study session. Just sit down on your chair and just close your eyes. And the easiest thing that you can do is to watch this flow of breath, in breath and out breath. When you practice this calming meditations like breathing meditation, that is one of the easiest meditations that you can do. When you focus your mind on this in breath and out breath, it helps you to become calm and settle down. Then your mind will get ready to study. Okay, so these are the few things and few easy things that you can do and practice while studying. Okay, so use these things and use these tips to study and make your studies a more productive one. Namo Buddhaya.